Copywriting. It is essential to creating a good email. It goes hand in hand with our designs, and to some extent can actually help structure the email overall, because when you think about what copy content you want where, you can decide how to then structure that throughout the actual design of the email. It can make it easier to figure out where you're putting images, where you want your CTAs, and exactly how to break up your content. And first and foremost, we have to remember that at the end of the day, we're selling something to people. So to start, being descriptive with your copy and how we talk about products is really, really important. You could see in the examples that just figuring out good adjectives and verbs to use can make all the difference. Instead of try, we say sip on because we're talking about smoothies. And then, we talk about it's tropics because they're fruit flavors. And then each of those fruit flavors then has a different adjective that kind of goes with it with some alliteration. And it all just makes it sound really, really nice. And it makes it more engaging for the reader, which then leads into be concise, which, considering we kind of have a 50-50 on brands that are either really, really long-winded or really, really don't have anything to talk about, it can be a balancing act, right? Trying to find a way to be descriptive and be engaging and interesting while still making sure that you don't lose the attention span of your readers, because in the age of social media, everybody just nope, bored, and then they skip. So you have to keep them entertained from top to bottom, and that means it needs to be really easy to read. And again, leading into being on point, to make it easier for people to read, you should have a defined beginning, middle, and end, and a single goal for every single email. So, if you're doing a sale, you start with sale is here, and then you move on to these are the details of the sale, and then you move on to this is what's in the sale. And at the bottom, you just wrap it all up and re-push them to the website. And it helps, again, structure the email so it makes your life easier when you're trying to come up with both designs and copy. It helps the reader stay engaged, and it makes it feel less random at times, because if you're kind of just weaving in between points without really a flow to it, it can make it feel really messy, and just not a good thing to do. And then when in doubt, spread it out. So if when you're struggling for content, or if you have very little to say, because sometimes you have a boring product, or the product doesn't have a good description, or there's no backstory for the brand, just take what little you have and just drag it out through the entire email. And coming up with good adjectives and synonyms for those that are related to the brand voice can make that a lot easier, because then you can say the same thing over and over again without actually repeating yourself. Ideally, you should try not to use the same adjectives more than once or twice in an email. And if you have to use it more than once because there's just nothing else to say, try to keep them as far apart as possible, because when someone reads the same word too close together, it's distracting and devalues from the entire point of the campaign.